Hey guys, welcome to Farm Charm Chic. I'm Emily and I am so ready for spring I can hardly stand it. So today I have some spring DIYs for you to hopefully help you get into the mood for spring. This is also a collaboration video with Krafty Kathy, but I will explain more about that later. If you have not had a chance to hit that subscribe button, I would love if you would consider doing so. And if you do like what you see in this video, I always appreciate it if you give this video a thumbs up. Let's get started with the DIYs. I found this candle holder pedestal at the thrift store and I thought it would be a really good piece to have. So I kind of thought about what I wanted to, like how I wanted to paint it or what finish I wanted to give it. So I ultimately decided to cover it in complete white chalk paint all over. So it takes about 2 or 3 coats to completely cover it. Now this is glass, it's not metal or anything. So it's not something that I'm going to like put outside or anything, but I wanted it to look kind of garden inspired, like maybe it was like a piece of wrought iron that had been painted and then was like the wrought iron was starting to show through. So I'm just going in with like some elephant or some dark gray chalk paint to distress this. And it has a little bit of detail on the very top, like the lip around where the candle would sit, that really picked up that detail really well. And then all of the little ridges that are on the base of the candle holder, it really picked up that distressing well. And so I just kind of went in. You can always add more, so go with a little bit and keep adding. And then you can also add some white paint back over the distressing if you feel like you've added too much to tone it down if you want to. I really wanted to make a moss ball to sit on top of this pedestal, and in the floral accent section of my craft store I found this little like wicker ball almost, and I bought this garland. It was on sale for 50% off, so it was $7.50. If I tried to think of some different ways I could actually make this, like get a form for this moss ball. This was the best that I could come up with for the price. So if you had something on hand already or came up with something else to use as your base, that would work too. But what I'm doing is I just zip tie the end of this garland onto what is going to be the base of my moss ball. And then I wrap it all the way around one way, turn it around and wrap it all the way the other way. So that way it's wrapped around twice and it is like crisscrossing, if that it all makes sense. So it goes like north to south and east to west. Once I zip tie both ends down to where the base of my moss ball is, I am just breaking apart all of these little teeny vines that are coming off and all these little stems, and I am just tucking them into the grapevine on the wicker or the wire, whatever. It's several different elements that are there. So I'm just tucking it in as I go around to make sure that this is completely covered. Now I just picked a greenery, like a garland that had a lot of little leaves like this that would easily tuck in. So if you're going to recreate this, you're just going to look for something that has a lot of long stems that you can stretch around. So you can kind of see how that went all the way around there. Now I'm just taking some jute twine and I'm just going to tie it on the base there. And then I'm going to wrap this around several different ways, directions, everything to hold that moss down. And it also looks like this moss was, that's what's holding it down onto the ball, and that was the look that I'm going for. And I go around maybe like 15 times or more. I mean, it's quite a few times that I go around. And if there's any pieces that are really sticking out that didn't get tucked in, I make sure that the twine is tucking those in as well. You can kind of see, I'll go back over and make sure that that goes on those. And once I get this as wrapped as many times as I want, I'll just cut it off and I'll return back to that place I designated as the bottom of my moss ball, and I will just tie it off in a knot there. And then I go back through, and if there's pieces that need to be tucked in under the twine, I do that. Or if I want to pull them out, because I want it to kind of have like a fluffy feel, I guess would be the best way to describe it. So I go through and you can kind of see me here, I'll pick some out. So that way the twine is a little bit buried inside of there, if that it all makes sense. This is the look once it's finished. I love how this turns out. I have seen these moss balls go for like way more than I paid. I absolutely love how this turns out, and I feel like it has such a good spring and garden vibe. I would definitely love to hear your thoughts on this one down in the comments. So I have seen on Pinterest and YouTube other DIYers make these faux wooden beads out of ping pong balls that they bought at Dollar Tree or wherever you buy ping pong balls. So I really like the look of those wreaths, so I'm giving this a try. So I use some barbecue skewers, and these balls, you can poke holes right through the ends of these, really easy to get them on these barbecue skewers. And I thought that would be the easiest way to get in there and paint them without having to handle them with my fingers. And then I just had a piece of styrofoam that as I was done, I just stuck it into and let them dry. Now I take one of these wreath forms from Dollar Tree and I am cutting it down because I have to feed the beads that we've made on. So I did have to go buy a special pair of wire cutters because this was way thicker than what my just standard little craft wire cutters would handle. So I did have to go buy some of those, but now I have them for future projects. But I cut you can see how I cut here. I left the full outer ring and then the 3 layers on 2 sections there for my flowers. So I cut open the wreath, and then as I take these off, I am just feeding them onto the wire form here. This does take a little bit of time, and look at what happens. The paint, these balls, when they crumple, because the plastic is so thin, the paint comes right off. It was not the easiest process, I won't lie. So I did hot glue in between each of these to hold them together. Now, of course, the hot glue is only holding to the paint, so this probably isn't the most sturdy wreath you'd want to hang outside or anything. But I do, once I put that last bead on, just make sure I glue really well between to make sure that is set. Now this wreath form, I bought at Hobby Lobby for $7.50 when it was half off, and I'll get into that in a minute, but I just wanted you to know that. But look at how easy this paint sheds right off of those ping pong balls. So just keep that in mind. But now let's make a bow for our wreath. So I'm just looping around some burlap ribbon. Of course, you can use whatever type of ribbon you want. And I just make a small loop for the middle, and I make 4 larger loops for each side. I am not the best bow maker, and I feel like I want to say it was Missy from Krafty Cove made a bow like this. I could totally be wrong, but I really wanted to try this way because I thought it looked like a really cute bow, and I'm not the best. So I'm taking the bigger loops and I pinch them down, as you can see, and just adding a little bit of hot glue, and that's what's going to add that cute little pinch where it looks like your bow was tied. So I do that on all 4 sides, and or all 4 loops, and you can kind of see how it comes together there, and then you'll glue them inside of that middle loop once you get it all together. But first I'm just taking each side, so 2 of them, and gluing one on top of the other, as you can see here. And now I have my wreath that I had taken these florals. These are from JoAnns, I think, but you could definitely use Dollar Tree florals or whatever you have in your stash. And I'm just using some pipe cleaner to attach these onto the back. I got the pipe cleaner at Dollar Tree. So I try to do as much Dollar Tree as I can. I just happen to have these florals rather than investing in new ones. So do whatever kind of color matches your decor. And then you just use the pipe cleaner just to go through on several sections to make sure that these florals are not budging. They're not going to go anywhere. I think I end up probably adding about 8 or so on the back, like 4 kind of on each side. Now we're going to put the bow on, and I'm just going to glue that middle section on first, and then I'm going to take each of these sides, put a little glue on the back, as you can see there, and I just tuck that in, and I'm going to hold it down until that glue dries. This is such an easy way to make such a good full looking bow. I did, you could kind of see, I didn't show it there, make a little tail that I put on that I glued on first, and then I just went in with my brush and touched up some of the paint that you could see with that same, and it's cashew is the color that I use from Waverly's chalk paint. What do you guys think of this? It turns out beautiful. I definitely wouldn't want to hang it outside because I feel like it is a little flimsy, if that makes sense, but like on my pantry door, it would totally work. I think these totally look like wooden beads. However, stay tuned because I'm going to show you something much easier that I made for less money that I love much more. As I mentioned earlier, today's video is part of a fun little collaboration I have with my good friend Krafty Kathy. We both are doing videos today that have spring-themed DIYs, and you can click the link down in my description box to see Krafty Kathy's video. Kathy is so talented, and you are definitely going to love her style. She does thrift flips, she does Dollar Tree DIYs, she does regular craft store DIYs. She does it all, and her sense of style is impeccable. So once you're done watching my video, just click that link down in my description box. It's going to take you right over to Kathy's videos so you can see her spring DIYs. While you're there, consider subscribing to her channel, let her know that Emily from Farm Charm Chic sent you, and enjoy all of the fun DIYs that she has for you. I know you're going to love her. All right, so I got this wreath form at Hobby Lobby in their wood section. It was $15 at 50% off, so I got it for $7.50. These wood beads, I don't have to paint any ping pong balls. It's cheaper than Dollar Tree because when I made my ping pong ball wreath, I used 7 packages of the ping pong balls. I had to buy $1 for the wire wreath form, and I had to go out and buy special wire cutters to cut that down. And it took me like 2 hours to make, where I didn't have to do anything with this other than I just was at the craft store and saw it. So I just want you to know that you can buy items like this at the craft store. It's cheaper than Dollar Tree, a lot less headache than Dollar Tree, and in my opinion, much easier and looks better. I'm just using some spring florals that I got at the craft store. I buy them on sale. I have a bunch of them on hand. So the flowers would be the same price for either wreath that you make because you can do the same floral on either wreath. Where I have the one in purple, I decided to do one with kind of a peachy and pinkish orange color. That way I can have 2 of these around my home. They're both beautiful wreaths. I just want you to know that Dollar Tree is not always the cheapest, so just keep that in mind. So I'm just using some zip ties to get these florals on because I don't have that bulky wire wreath thing that I'm using there. The zip ties work perfect on this, and I'll just cut the stems down to size using my new wire cutters that I got, so those will come in handy. And then I am just going to use some zip ties to get this put onto the front of the wreath. So one thing that I will do is when I flip this over, I'm going to bend it so it has kind of a curve to it before I use zip ties to put it on. And you'll be able to see here how many zip ties I have there. So I have several, but I'm just going over the wreath there. You're not going to see those because we're going to glue some big peony flowers on here. And so you're not going to see these at all. You can definitely use clear ones if you'd rather. The little red ones, like I say, the greenery and everything covers them. And if you see a little bit of it, it just kind of looks like a little color of the flower that's peeking out there. So just make sure that you want this, especially if you're going to put this like on your porch or somewhere outside, you want to make sure your florals are very, very secure because if wind or anything, like a door knocking it, as it opens and closes, you want to make sure they're not going to fall off. So I just cut 3 peonies off of this. Is it peony or peonies? I say it both ways. I don't know. I've said it both ways twice now. So let me know how you say it. I don't know how you would tell me how you say it. But anyway, I am just gluing these on. So I cut 3 of them off of the stems and I just find my center that I want. And then I glue 2 on the side there. I thought those were perfect color to match that little orange other flower that I had there. I can use my other peonies and other projects that I have. And then I just go through and make sure everything is turned up right. It looks good. Here's the end project. This literally took me less than about 40 minutes to make, where my other wreath took me several hours to make. And I don't have to worry about paint chipping off of the ping pong balls, the glue not adhering between them. It was so much simpler. And you guys, it was seriously less money. So I would be very interested to know down in the comments which one you did like better. And if you were to make one, which one you would choose to make. Don't forget that I'm on Instagram also. I love to meet new Insta friends, so I would love for you to come over and say hi, check out my page, and see all the latest projects that I'm working on. I'll be sure and leave a link down in my description box so you can easily find me. So I have tried this technique before and I absolutely love it. We are going to print on some tissue paper. So I'm cutting just a normal piece of tissue paper to be just smaller than a regular size piece of copy paper. And I'm going to put that shiny, smooth side of the tissue paper down towards the paper and then just tape down all sides with whatever tape you have. I just have painter's tape on hand there. But you just want to make sure all the tissue paper is taped down, and you'll feed it through your printer just like normal paper, and the image prints right on the tissue paper. Now, as I'm cutting this out, I just want to let you know that the ink will kind of bleed through to that copy paper, so just be aware of that. I found this darling little flower bucket at Dollar Tree this week, so hopefully you'll be able to find them. But I thought it would be fun to give this a really cute pastel blue color for spring. And I'm going to make some faux rust. So I use baking soda along with like a brown color, like a truffle. I use Merlot, a little bit of yellow, and then like the pumpkin orange. And I just get a mixture of all these colors going together and keep adding baking soda, which gives it texture, until I get the color that I think resembles rustic rust the most. You want to be very sparing with the yellow, but I promise you the yellow is what makes this, because when you look at things that actually rust, it will have like the different variations of colors. So once I get this on my brush, which it's quite thick because of the baking soda, I just kind of dab it in. You can see how I'm going all over there, and you just do that until your heart's content with how much rust you want on your project. Now with this tissue paper, I'm just taking a brush with some water and going around the design, and then I will just lightly pull apart the tissue paper to kind of give it a torn look. So instead of a clean cut line with scissors, it's kind of more torn and like natural looking. Now using matte Mod Podge, I'm just putting a layer down on my bucket where I want the front to be, and just kind of do a very thin layer of it. And then you're going to take and I'm just spreading it so it's even. You're going to take your image and you're just going to lightly press it down starting in the middle, and then just lightly press, because the tissue paper will tear once it gets a little bit of moisture on it. So you're just going to lightly press. And if there's any bubbles, you just kind of lightly smooth those out. This is very sped up of how I did that. So just know you're going to work a little slow. And then I take the matte Mod Podge, and right now I'm just going around the edges to make sure the edges are all down. And then after I have that, I will go over very lightly with a very light coat of Mod Podge over the design. And then to make that image kind of blend in a little more, I take and dry brush some of the original blue color over the top of the design. Now, if you did this on a white bucket, if you painted it white, that image would completely disappear and you would not be able to see the part of the tissue paper at all. And it picks it up kind of in the light on camera, the tissue paper, but honestly, when you're looking at it with like your naked eye, you can hardly see that it's tissue paper. But I love this design. I just threw some of my peonies left over from one of my wreath projects and put in there, and I think this looks so beautiful. That rust looks so natural to me. It looks like it's been sitting out in your garden like all winter long. You forgot to bring it in and it just kind of rusted. I just think it's so spring and so cute, and I love this color. Let me know what you guys think about that rust down in the comments, if you like it or if you're not a fan. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you like these fun spring DIYs. I would love to know down in the comments which of the wreaths was your favorite, the one from Dollar Tree, the one from Hobby Lobby, and which one do you see yourself recreating? Thank you so much for joining me. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Give this video a thumbs up, and down in my description box is a link to Krafty Kathy's video. Make sure you check out hers and let her know that Emily sent you. As always, I want to remind you to be safe, be smart, be nice, be happy. Choose to have a good day because you are amazing. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you next time. If you enjoyed the video that you just saw, here's another one that you might enjoy. And as always, remember to like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching and have an amazing day.